Well, today this chamber will cast a vote on a carbon tax that the Labor Party has been looking for now for years.
Members on my right.
Today, again, we see a broken promise from the Australian Labor Party. We see a broken promise from the now Prime Minister, who assured the Australian people he would not do dodgy deals with the Greens. We see a dodgy deal with the Greens that leads to a carbon tax, a tax that will be imposed on Australian industry, a tax that will be passed through to Australian consumers. This is a tax that will see prices go up in the midst of a cost of living crisis where every household across this country is feeling the pain of prices going up. The solution by the Albanese government is to introduce another tax that drives prices up. But not only, Mr Speaker, will we see prices for Australians go up as a result of these reforms to the safeguard mechanism, but we will also see investment go down. We hear from a Labor government that seeks to spruik credentials about building manufacturing in Australia, but now they introduce a tax on manufacturing.
The Treasurer will cease interjecting.
This is a government that talks about de-carbonisation, but in fact introduces a policy of de-industrialisation. This is not a policy to decarbonise the Australian economy, but to decapitate the Australian economy. And it comes at a time when Australia can least afford it.
The Minister for
But
Childhood,
don't just listen to me, Mr
Education.
Speaker. Don't just listen to me.
The Minister for
Let's see what Credit Suisse say about it. They say, and I quote, the new
Minister for
reforms
Immigration and the Assistant
agreed
Treasurer.
with the Greens are going to be inflationary.
The Assistant Treasurer is warned.
I'll repeat that word for those opposite who cannot
far
hear
too
it.
many interjections on my right.
Inflationary. The new reforms agreed with the Greens are going to be inflationary and risk jobs by hindering investment and restricting offset use across all of Australia's heavy industry. And then how about APR? Chief Executive Samantha McCulloch said, and I quote, "New gas supply investment needs policy and regulatory certainty, but instead the Labor Greens deal creates additional barriers to investment, further diminishing the investment environment and adding to the growing list of regulatory challenges facing this sector." And then how about Australian Pipelines and Gas Association, whose CEO said there are questions over whether the flow-on effects of any additional restrictions on gas supply will be borne by Australian households and businesses who are already facing major increases to energy bills due to the transition. So, Mr Speaker, what we have here today is apparently Labor's centrepiece for decarbonising the Australian economy. They have their own minister claiming this is as big a move as the entire de-industrialisation, or let's say the Industrial Revolution. So if the minister thinks this is as big as the Industrial Revolution, you'll think that the Labor Party may have done one thing, actually done some economic modelling. What we've found out and confirmed in the Senate over the last 24 hours is that this government has not done any economic modelling on the impact of this policy on jobs, on regional communities, on manufacturing. No economic modelling from Treasury, no economic modelling from the department. And what does this mean, Mr Speaker? What we are voting on today is a policy they have not researched, they've done no modelling on. It will be paid for by Australians, prices will go up, investment will go down, emissions will go offshore and they'll multiply. It's a disgrace and it's not the pathway to decarbonise the Australian economy.
Time.